Okay, so here's what the lighting system looks like at night. There you can see the grill lights. This comes on when you hit the unlock button on the car or if you open the door. You see there's also this one that's nice in the back. So when you're going to put stuff in the trunk, you can see if it's clear. And it goes out by itself. Pretty cool. I'm going to show you how I put in an underbody lighting system for my 2004 Lincoln Towncar. I'll see if I can get a picture in the dark a little later, but for now we're shooting this in my garage because I live in Seattle and much to no one's surprise, it's raining out. So you can get a sense of what it looks like here. I have them on each side. I also have them underneath. Let's see if I can get a little picture of what it looks like down there. And then I also put them out front. So these show through the grill a bit. And while I was at it, since there's no light under the hood for reasons I don't understand, I put some here. So note for you, the one you see in the middle, don't bother with because there's a piece of the grill that blocks that one. Okay, so let me go about showing you how I did this. My goal was to have an underbody lighting system that would come on automatically with the interior lights. So in particular, anytime I unlock the car, when the opera lights come on, I wanted the underbody lights to come on, partially so I could see puddles around the car, partially because, well, it just looks cool. Now, originally I tried wiring this directly to the opera light circuit, and that circuit can't carry a whole lot of extra load. When I did connect it directly so it would come on with the opera lights, I heard a buzzing of some control box and it was definitely unhappy. So I knew I needed to use a relay to draw less power. All right, so since I mentioned the relays, let's talk about those. So first I tried a standard electromechanical relay, and unfortunately it too drew too much power and made my light box, control box unhappy. Then this, I was able to buy a solid state one, and the solid state one actually has the wiring diagram right on the outside, and I'm going to be installing that a little later. But that one's supposed to have very low draw. So some of the other things I've used a soldering iron. Some of my connections I've made using these special little connectors that you squeeze onto the wire like this. And then after you squeeze it onto the wire, you can push this other piece on and it makes a connection. I don't really like the mechanical crimp method. It doesn't seem to be as secure for me. So what I would do is I would pull from this, I'd pull the center piece out, make sure you slide the cover back on the wire first. I would solder here, and then I slide the cover back up to cover. So this is the kind of wire that I use for all the lights. I would take the light wire, run it from the lights all the way up under the hood. I put it in wire loom. This is split wire loom, so it's easy to get inside because it splits open like this. Also, it looks more factory and it protects it. So this is the main wire that I used. If I did an end-to-end connection, which was a little more common, I really just used these under the hood. I would use these heat shrink sleeves, and these particular ones are really nice because they have an adhesive sealant inside that's heat activated. So as long as you have a heat gun, you could go and first make your solder joint, then slide this over and heat it with the heat gun, and it seals it quite nicely. All right, so talking about the lights, first I tried these kind of cob lights that I got online, I think through eBay, and they were supposed to be waterproof. They weren't. They failed within a year. I was very disappointed. So then I found this other style that's actually rated for being used underwater in a swimming pool. Now, this comes in a 16-foot roll, and they're all LEDs, obviously. And it comes with leads soldered at each end of this long strip. And those solder joints were really reliable and secure. You can also, if you see these two little copper bits, you can cut back the insulator here, and you can solder to those copper bits to put your own leads on. However, when I did that myself, they ended up being unreliable. Sometimes they would work, sometimes they wouldn't. I don't know if it has something to do with the copper or just my solder or my soldering skills. I'm usually pretty good. But I had trouble getting my own leads. So I just bought enough of these spools. They weren't very expensive. I bought enough of these that I could use factory leads. All right, so holding it up there. So I found this adhesive that I really like. So this one is a marine adhesive. It can be used with a lot of water. There's different kinds. This one I liked more than the others for two reasons. One is that it cures in 24 hours. Some of the underwater ones take, I think, 5 days or 7 days. The other thing I like is that it makes I guess I'd say a non-permanent bond. So if you ever need to take it off for some reason, I believe you still can. Where some of the others, there's no way you can ever get it loose. So the light strip has double-sided tape behind this piece of wax paper, basically. But the double-sided tape sticks pretty well to here. So what I did is I'd strip back the double-sided tape, I'd put adhesive on, and then this comes with some little clips. I brought extra ones, but it comes with these little clips that I would put up every so often to hold it in place while the adhesive dried, and I just leave the clips there. They do come with little screws. I found that the heads of the screws stripped out really easily, so I replaced them with some better quality stainless steel screws, and they didn't strip out. Also, the end of this that doesn't have the wires on, you don't want to leave anything unprotected. So there's this little cap, and you can put some silicone in this cap, slide it over the edge, and it'll keep it sealed. Here's a switch similar to what I installed under the dash. So what I did, I'd ground this, and then for the hot lead coming in, I tapped into the opera lights, and then the output of this, I ran under the dash, and I actually ran it through a pass-through that goes through the firewall that has the emergency brake cable. Getting through the firewall took me a while to figure out how to get it through, but I was able to pass through the same grommet. So this makes it so if I ever want to disable the system, I can turn it off and it won't come on when I open the door, or I can turn it on and it will still only come on when I open the door by sending the power to that solid state relay. Now, if I had connections that were difficult to seal, so under the hood, for instance, I use these, but these aren't particularly waterproof, I would use liquid tape. So make sure you test your electrical connections, make sure they're working before you put this on. And then once you know everything is okay, you just basically paint this on anywhere water could get in. So for instance, even this unit, this one was water rated, but this one isn't. So anywhere where the wires pass through or I find a seam, once I know everything works, I'm going to use the liquid tape to seal this up. All right, so let's go over to the car. Let's show you a few things. So here you can see where I've connected. So this is, that's the lead wire coming in. And then this is the light. You can see the adhesive, and then you can see the clips that I have every so often to hold it in place. And that's what it looks like everywhere. Here you can see one of the end caps that protects that. So the power starts out, I chose to start it out near the battery. I was able to buy from eBay a 12 gauge wire. So that's what this is. It came with the eyelet already on it. It comes around, and then it has a fuse that I have out for the moment. And then you can see this is a split loom that I bought. And then it just wraps around, and I have everything coming over here. So all of my wires for the whole system all terminate over here. I did leave a little extra wire for the lights that are in the front, because there's a few times you have to take this panel off, and I didn't want to make it an issue where you couldn't, lift the panel and get it out of the way. So if you just cut one of the tie wraps here, you can lift the panel and get it out of the way. Okay, and then here you can see, looks a little jerry-rigged, but this is my hotline. So this is some more 12 gauge wire. You can see it's from the old days because it's real copper. And so here's all my different lighting circuits tying into that. Then here's my ground. So here's the negative side from all my lighting circuits. And I do have them all terminating to a body ground here. And what I'm going to be doing next is I'm going to be taking my solid state relay, and I'm going to mount it into the body and wire it in, to these other pieces here. So it'll only come on when the opera lights are coming on, and I'm hoping that the draw to the trigger coming from the opera lights is so low that it won't cause any other problems.